The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Hi, this is Tom Lane, DM2 Software's Vice President of Sales and Marketing. I'd like to welcome everybody to today's Introduction to DeliveryLink webinar. Before I introduce today's presenters, I'd like to go over a few housekeeping items. Because of the number of attendees we have on today's webinar, everyone's phones will stay on mute. If you have any questions during the webinar, please enter them into the question window that you see in the lower right of your screen. We'll try to get to everybody's questions during the end of the webinar. If we're unable to get to your question, we'll follow up with you individually after the webinar is over. Today's webinar is being recorded. As soon as the recording is available, we'll post it on our YouTube channel, and we'll also include a link to it on our website along with the presentation material that you'll be seeing. And as soon as that's all available, I'll send a message around to let you know when they're available to be viewed or downloaded. On that note, I'd like to introduce today's presenters. We have our Vice President of Technology, Chris Lamagna, our Executive Vice President, Roxana Bryant, and we have our lead DeliveryLink programmer, John Halver, joining us today. So on that note, I'm going to hand it over to Chris, and he's going to get things started. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Tom, and good morning, good afternoon to everyone on the call. My name is Chris Lamagna. As Tom mentioned, I'm the Vice President of Technology at DM2. Most of you have had an opportunity to listen to me ramble on before, so I appreciate you tuning in and giving us a chance to talk about something we're really excited about. This is a product we've been working on for a couple of years now, and really refining it in conjunction with several accounts that have been helping us with some design goals and some things we wanted to achieve for this DeliveryLink system. So what we're going to do is I'm going to go through some information about DeliveryLink. Then we're going to switch over, and John Halver, who is the lead programmer on this product, as Tom mentioned, is going to take us through a live demo. Now, any of you that have been involved in these kind of things in the past know that a live demo may have issues. So I'm just telling you up front, this is a new product, and we may run into problems, but we'll work through it together, and we'll take you through low and slow so you can see what's going on, and really bring you up to speed on what we think is going to be a big contribution to our customer base. So first, let's talk about what our goals were for this product and what this product is. We recognized that there was an opportunity to bring a product to market that would bridge a gap between a paper-based delivery management system. So this is the dispatching your trucks out, having them make deliveries, capturing that information on the truck, and then returning that information, sales order deliveries, bill of ladings, that kind of thing, and then returning that information to the home office. There are quite a bit of robust products out there that can do this. As most of you know, we partner with several of them to offer that. But what they are is, what we found is that people are either kind of using a paper-based system and doing it with just documents, or they're moving up to a full truck automation system where you've got a device in the truck that's connected to the meters and connected to printers and all kinds of things in the vehicle. What there really wasn't was something that kind of fell in the middle, where you didn't really have the needs for a high-end, super high-end system, and the paper system wasn't cutting it for you, so we felt like there was some no man's land in between those things that we could bring a product to market in. So what we did was we sat down and said, what were the things that we were trying to achieve that we felt would be a complement to the higher end systems, but making it a little more accessible. So it was designed to handle delivery management, the truck management, without a substantial upfront investment. We wanted to avoid having you have to make a large proprietary or dedicated hardware investment for your vehicles. We wanted it to be simple to get started with and deploy, so we wanted it to be something that would be straightforward, could be rolled out in a in an incremental way. So as you brought on more vehicles or as you started to implement this, it would be easy to do step by step. We wanted it to be a DM2 hosted system. In other words, DM2 would actually provide this over the web so that you wouldn't have to make a large investment in server or hosting modifications to run this product at your location. So for customers who aren't comfortable with or don't have that kind of capability to run or adding a new server and new structures and new network connections, this would be something that DM2 hosted. It also makes the rollout easier and more straightforward because there's very little work really on the customer side, on your side, that has to be done. It needed to work offline. So you needed to be able to, trucks needed to be able to continue to make deliveries and operate the vehicle, pick up products, put them on bill of ladings, make those deliveries when they were disconnected from the home office. So this couldn't be a system that required a dedicated connection. So that was taken in as a design goal. We wanted the truck systems to use off-the-shelf hardware from multiple vendors. In other words, to be hardware agnostic. So you're more comfortable with Android hardware, or whether it's laptops or whether it's iPhones or whatever it happens to be, we wanted it to be hardware agnostic. We didn't want to require you be on specific platforms. And we wanted it to be accessible by common carriers. So one of the things that we know is that, a lot of you guys use common carriers, but so they're going out and they're making those deliveries, they're picking a product, they're capturing bill of lading data, that kind of stuff. And we want to get that stuff streamlined, that workflow streamlined of getting that data back into the ERP system and back to the home office. One of the problems, though, is if you go to a common carrier, you can't really dictate that they're going to have specific equipment on their truck or they're going to do something a specific way. So we wanted to make this very open and accessible so the common carriers could use existing technology they may have, as well as just really plain old desktop computers, or if you wanted to supply them a piece of equipment, it would be really easy to do and relatively inexpensive. So these were our goals of trying to build out a product to fit into this space. So we looked at what the capability of the system would need to be. We knew that we needed to support driver truck inspection sheets. So right now the driver goes out and he looks around his truck, makes sure everything's okay. We need to capture that information and have that reported back into the ERP system. We knew that pickup routing would be downloaded from the ERP, so we're sending down where the product should be picked up, what the products are, that kind of thing needed to be able to be accessible from the driver on board whatever system we provided. Orders easily needed to be sent down to the handhelds from multiple touch points. So whether you're using recurring deliveries or whether you're using direct sales orders or you're using our sales order dispatch manager, this information needed to all flow into the ERP system. It needed to handle bill of lading data capture. So you go out and you're picking up something that you're getting a paper bill of lading for. The operator can enter that data on the fly easily and match it up with particular orders and things that they're being sent that have already been sent down to the handheld. It needed to handle sales order data capture, including signatures. So you're out making those deliveries, filling those sales orders, and you're going to capture a signature from the operator or from the person at the delivery location. The system needed to be able to do that and return it back to ERP. And then we wanted to provide data capture for reporting on truck performance. So taking all of this information and providing it back to the home office so that then you can do some data reporting on your truck performance, your driver performance, and how things are going. So these were the capabilities we initially identified at a very broad level across the system, things that we wanted it to be able to do. So when you combine the goals that we had for the marketplace and for ease of deployment and where it fit into other options out there, as well as the capability, we put all that into our blender and came up with DeliveryLink. So basically, as I said earlier, we see DeliveryLink fitting into a continuum of options that you may be using. So you may have a paper-based system today at the low end. You may have some trucks on a fully deployed an integrated truck system with meters connected and the whole thing, so dedicated hardware, dedicated configurations. Or you may have a mixture of these things. So you might have some vehicles that are on that fully integrated system, but you also might have some vehicles you're still operating on paper, whether that's an investment issue where you're just taking this as you can kind of afford to deploy, or whether it's just really needs-based. You know, some trucks need to be configured that way and some don't. So we wanted DeliveryLink to kind of scale within that continuum between those two ends, and also work in conjunction with those other options. So DeliveryLink is not an either-or. It is, you can use it in combination with other truck systems you might have or other paper systems you have. So it's designed to be kind of seamlessly blended in to the delivery operation, no matter how you're working the system. So that's kind of how we see it. We know it's not capable of some of the super high-end stuff that you see in dedicated truck systems. We're taking a little bit of what we call internally land and expand, which is we're deploy the system, begin getting feedback from customers and getting feedback from how it's working in the field, and then add features as customers see that it needs additional capabilities. So the idea was to kind of hit pretty much in the middle of what most people needed, and offer an affordable, capable system that we're going to walk you through now. So what we're going to do is we're going to go through a demo. We're going to take you through orders being sent down from the Sage DM2 ERP. So you're going to see that screen. Then we're going to move into actually operating the truck handheld. Now, the thing to remember about the truck system is when we switch over, and we'll point this out, everything that's happening at that point is really happening in a web browser. It is a web-based application written in modern technologies, modern languages, hosted on our servers. So what you're seeing here would run on anything that has access to the internet, at least intermittently. Even if it got disconnected, it will still work once it's got the application downloaded. And the interface scales, and we'll make some points about that. But what you're seeing is actually all running based in web technologies. Once you see we leave maps, and we'll point that out. And then we'll bring the whole thing back around and show you what happens on the download side when that data is coming back into the ERP system. So I'm going to turn this over to John, and he and I will be walking this through together. And we're going to try and go, like I said, low and slow, and try and make sure you have a chance to see it. We know this is the first time a lot of people have seen the technology, and so we're hoping that we can answer questions before you know you have them. So here we go.
Hello, everybody. My name is John Halver. I'm a programmer with DM2 Software. First-time presenter, so thank you for watching. We are going to start here in mass, in sales order. We're going to create some orders, send them down to DeliveryLink, pick up the product, deliver them, and I'll come all the way back to here. So let's start by creating a basic sales order. And we're going to select customer here. We're just going to choose Valley Construction. And the ship via is key on the sales order. If the ship via is a truck that is DeliveryLink authorized, you'll see this little checkbox down here automatically check itself. And that means it's a DeliveryLink order. It'll be sent out to the DeliveryLink servers through SOAP connections and web services. And it's all automatic in the background. You can always turn this checkbox off if you desire to create an order for this vehicle, but not have it go out to DeliveryLink for whatever reason. So let's just have that go to me. We'll add some products on here. We're just going to go with diesel. And we'll also give them some home heat. Okay. And we're going to accept this, accept the totals. And now, as we click that accept button, automatically in the background, this order was processed and sent to DeliveryLink, which we'll see in a minute. I'm going to create another order. So we have 2 set now to look at. And we'll send this one to customer 2. Ship via, again, automatically populated for this customer. We're going to go into our lines, and let's just give them some gasoline. We'll say they want a lot. And we'll accept that. And the tolls. And again, in the background, this has all gone through web services and sent out to DeliveryLink, which we are now going to go to now. So as said before, DeliveryLink is a web app that's platform agnostic. It can run on iPads, Android devices, web browser, whatever you want to do. We're using a simulator to simulate an iPad in this situation, so you get an idea of the visuals of what it'll look like on an iPad. So let's have the driver log in. And the first thing he needs to do is select the vehicle that he's driving for the day. We sent these orders to this truck, so that's the one we're going to pick. And first off, the driver is dropped into his inspection screen. Here, he can choose whether there's something wrong with the cab, the trailer, if everything's all good. He will sign and submit that to dispatch. Let's just say, for fun, the tire was flat. He fixed it. And let's just say he's Billy. This looks a lot cleaner when you're not using a mouse. And we'll submit that inspection. So he's done his inspection. He's going to look at his orders now. This is the first screen the driver is dropped into after completing an inspection. It's the orders overview. This gives him an idea of the orders that have been sent to him for the day. Right now we have our 2 that we created earlier. These order cards are just brief descriptions of the order, where it's going to, the products described. And as you can see, the inspection has now been processed on the server and emailed out to dispatch. So let's take a look at that real quick before we jump back to the web app. It's very basic right now. We plan on expanding this and making it prettier in the future. But it has all the information needed at this point in time. Thank you, Firefox, or Foxit. So we have our driver, we have the name of the driver, and the inspection lines and signature will be at the bottom. Fantastic. Let's try this one more time. You do this 5 times, and then right when you want to show it to everybody, it breaks. Let's just try downloading this. One more time. 3rd time's the charm. Well, as with everything, the best laid plans often go awry. Well, we'll show that later. So let's jump back to DeliveryLink, the web application, and let's look in the upper right-hand corner. Here we have our menu. This gives the driver access to everything he might need to do out on DeliveryLink. Orders is the screen we're on now. Just gives you a basic overview of all the orders that you have. Total products required is calculated on the back end by DeliveryLink. This is currently by supplier, pickup point, and warehouse. So it tells you the total quantity that the driver would need to pick up from this location. In this case, it's going to be a warehouse. And it breaks it down into the product, the quantity, and even per order. So perhaps there was 4,000 gallons of diesel going to 2 orders. You would see that here as another line. Same thing with home heat. In this case, this product had a default supplier set up. We'll get into that later. Driver can actually click anywhere in here, and it will automatically take him to a pickup screen where he can pick up the product. In this case, it's coming from inventory. Just clicking. This pickup is also available on the menu here, so he can pick up manually anytime he wants. Products on board, we haven't picked up any products yet, so you won't see any, but we'll come back to this later. This shows how much product the driver has on board at any point in time, and it updates based on what he has picked up and what he has been delivered. The inspection is something we've already gone through. Allows the driver to do an inspection of the vehicle or trailer at any point in time. Lookup we'll go into a little bit later. It allows the driver to look up things he's previously done, pickups or deliveries. Back on the pickup screen, this data has been auto-populated as much as possible by DeliveryLink. We have our inventory, the warehouse it's supposed to come from, and the products. So we can just go down here. If the driver wants to, he can add a comment, dispatch, maybe there was a long line, and if the driver wants to, we'll show you later, he can actually override these automatically generated pickups. We'll go into that in the second order. The vehicle mileage is not required, but it is encouraged. This is used for reporting by dispatch or home office, whoever needs it. Let's just submit this pickup. And we'll go back to the menu real quick, and we'll see that these two products are now on board. Currently, it's only showing the ID of the product and the quantity, but we can expand this to show more information later. If the driver was to tap on one of these products, he'll get information about where it came from, the quantity. This is also automatically updated. Further along the line, if somehow during the day he had to transfer this product to a warehouse, he's able to do that here. And perhaps at the end of the day, he has some product left over on this truck and it needs to be delivered to retainage. This can easily be done here. We won't have to go into that just yet. So now we've picked up that product. Let's also do one more pickup. Let's pick up the other product we need for the day. We need this Idaho gas. Let's tap this. Now, DeliveryLink will automatically try and populate as much as possible. In this case, there wasn't a pickup point assigned to this. So the driver can do this manually. He knows he needs regular gas, 3,000 gallons, but he's not going to get it in from inventory. We're going to go to the rack and do a rack pickup, get a bill of lading number, all that jazz. He's going to go to Chevron Fuel. Let's say Chevron Fuel in Vancouver. They have regular gasoline. And he'll pick up his 3,000 gallons. He can also manually add and remove products from this pickup. Okay, let's say he received a bill of lading number. He's typing it in now. And he's also going to report his mileage. And let's submit this pickup. Back in the menu, you can see that this product is now on board. It shows where it came from. And now we're going to show you where it's going. Starting with this first order. The driver taps on his order card, and it gives the detailed information for this order. Order number, customer, the address that it's going to go to, memos, he can pick up more products. We're going to go into that in a minute. Because this is an agnostic web application, this address, when the driver taps on it, it will open in whatever default mapping program is tied to the device. If it's an Android device, it would open in Google Maps. If it's an iPhone device or any sort of Apple device, it would open in whatever default mapping device they have set up, mapping program. Let's just show this right now. We'll tap on it. Since we're using a web browser, it's going to automatically open up in a web browser because that's our default. And from here, the driver can get directions however they're probably comfortable with. And you can also choose your own location here on the device. You have to have location services turned on in order to do so, obviously. Back on the order detail, there are shipping instructions tied to this location. So let's view those now. The driver can view these at any time. Apparently there's a gate that needs to be closed and locked. Good for the driver to know. Let's actually deliver these products. These are the lines on the order. Currently we have our diesel. That product is already selected on board. Down here, it's home heating oil. Let's choose that. Let's deliver our quantities. And further down, the driver is able to assign fees to this order if he is required to. Currently, we only have 2 sitting out there for him to choose from. For fun, let's just say there was a load fee. And again, he's going to put in his mileage. This order is going to be completed. When he's submitting this order, he's given a screen. This is where the customer would sign. Maybe his signature is a little bit better than that. And this will be tied to the delivery ticket that is automatically sent out by the server. Let's complete this order. And upon completion, you're taken back to the order screen so the driver can deliver his next product. And in a moment, we'll see that that order has come through, and we'll look at the delivery ticket. On order number 2, there are more memos. You see that we have our delivery ticket now. Let's take a look at that. Hopefully Foxit will work. Of course not. But this gives you an idea of what the delivery ticket would look like. Table with all the line items, there's load fee. And below, there will be a signature. I don't believe I have any other PDF program open on here right now.
Click on it and hold on the Alt key. Actually, right click. There. Just hit open and hit open. Can you scroll it down while it's doing that?
Doesn't appear to do so.
Hit the debug.
Oh, the beauty of a live demo, everybody. Just 10 times yesterday and today.
All right, just open it up again if you can.
Let's try one more time. One more time. Let's just try saving it. Maybe that'll be fun. Nope, let me scroll down. But in this window, you can see the signature is indeed there. Let's try one more time from the desktop. Oh, open source programs. And again, lots of fail on my part. We will fix that in a video later so you can actually see the full delivery ticket. We'll send that out as well so you can get an idea of what all these delivery tickets and inspection sheets look like.
So the thing to take away is that as soon as the system saw that that delivery had been made, the server sent that email out with the signature and all the delivery information going directly to the customer. And we will add those to the pack that Tom puts out so you'll be able to see them. Sorry about that. This is something with Windows, not with the system itself, so it's just a preview display.
It's just the default PDF viewing program that I have on here.
Chris and John, I just wanted to let you know we're right at the top of the hour, so we're about halfway through, just to give you a heads up on the time.
Okay. Thank you.
Thanks.
All right, let's deliver our last product. Complete our last order. Let's say there was no load fee on there. We'll complete this order as well. Do that as a signature. Now all of our orders have been completed. Let's jump back into Mass and bring all this data in and show you how it's processed. Under PetroLink, currently we have DeliveryLink, and we're going to import all those distributions that we just did, the pickups and the delivery.
So currently, everything you've been seeing so far, once it left Mass, it was on the DM2 hosted servers, and it's been exchanging that data. So in this case, the simulated iPad's been exchanging data with the DM2 web servers, and now in our private cloud. And now that data is going to be pulled into the system for further processing. So we're moving back into Mass in bringing that data in from DeliveryLink.
Okay. So let's import this data. We're just going to choose today. And we're going to choose truck 2, because that's the one we were using. This is a preliminary idea of how we're going to be processing these things. We can probably automate this more later. Let's bring these in. At this point in time, Mass is talking to DeliveryLink, the servers with web services with SOAP. We see that there are 7 records. So now those have been brought in. Let's process these. Hit a minute here. Here we go. And let's look at these import records. Here is an edit import record screen. Here you can view all the records that were imported, all the detail lines, all the pickups. In this case, this was this distribution from inventory. It gives you the product, the driver ID, all that good information. This particular bill of lading number was auto-generated on the back end on the servers by DeliveryLink when we do an inventory pickup. This allows for easy tracking of where it came from, where it's going inside MAS. And they can edit things in here if there was some sort of, perhaps the load fee isn't, a quantity of one, perhaps it's by the number of gallons that were delivered. They can do whatever they want here so they can make sure all these records were correct. So we'll back up here. Process this import group. Let's preview these. This screen just gives you a general idea of, oh, well, we had no supplier and pickup point because these were from inventory. So there are a few more things we need to work through on the back end. But in this case, these were inventory pickups, so there weren't any supplier and pickup points. And that's logic on the back end, business logic in MAS. That is preventing us from showing the complete preview. Process one more time. Let's try and preview these records one last time. Here we go. On this preview screen, we can show all the product pickups. In this case, we have our diesel, our home heat, our regular. And then below, you can see where all the distributions went to. And in fact, you can also see the load via on here. So this is just a quick way to view where all the product came from, where all the product is going. At this point in time, we could process all these if we had all of our business logic set up properly on this test server. And it would flow through sales order, it would flow through bill of lading.
So those transactions that came back from DeliveryLink then will auto-populate, as you'd expect, down in through MAS's bill of lading and sales order distribution, converting orders to invoices, bringing in the bill of lading information and matching those up with the deliveries that were made. So at this point, the processing then moves back into what your guys are normally used to. It's just the data has already been populated in the system, and then they can move forward with their regular business workflows. Back on the, go ahead.
I would also like to note that all of these PDFs that are being generated by the server, by DeliveryLink, are not only emailed out, they can be imported into MAS onto the server. We wrote this recently to sync all the DeliveryLink PDFs reports that are out there. Let's import what's out there. And these go into a predefined folder. I believe it is reports. I don't have a shortcut set up. I should have, but perhaps we can view the report on here. Let's go to navigate there now. Go to data. Let's go to and there should be under CAD. There should be a report section. That's not it. Well, I was working with another programmer to design what folder it went into, and perhaps he changed the name on me. But all those reports are here.
So the idea is that the PDF generation documents that came out from DeliveryLink sync back to the server. And so you do have a record of those, and then you can move them over to DM2 paperless or wherever you wanted it to go. So you do have full retention of those documents as well as having them immediately dispatched out to the customers.
And there we have it.
Let's show the query.
Oh, one more thing. On the web app, if the driver needs to look up what he's done previously in the past, this is this lookup item right here. You can go back in time as far as there is data out on the server. In this case, we're only going to have today, but he could go as far back as there was data out there. This just generates a table showing his pickups. There was 3. His deliveries. There was 4 because there was a load fee. And if he needs to, he can search based on the order ID. He can look for something to do with the specific product. Let's try something that has to do with 5. You'll see that he picked up this, and he delivered it here. He can also search currently by where he picked it up from, by the comments that he left on the order, whatever he needs to do. And this can be easily expanded later. This gives the driver a tool to look back in time so he doesn't have to remember everything that he's done months and months ago. He can look it up on whatever device he's comfortable with. Okay.
So there's some significant advantages to the way it's set up, and especially being that hardware agnostic. So if at the last minute you needed to swap out the device that's being used because it had become damaged, if another driver needed to take over a particular route or data needed to be inputted in a different method, obviously you can jump right into any system that has a web connection, log in as that operator with the appropriate credentials, and then do that operation. So we wanted it to be something that was easy to maintain, easily accessible, and a good medium solution for these kinds of issues. So kind of to recap a little bit, we had these goals of designed to handle that delivery management, being easy to deploy, that it would be a hosted system, that you wouldn't have to do a lot of things. So what you saw here didn't really require anything be done at the home office other than a few applications be loaded and a few things be done, but it didn't require new servers or new things that you had to do. It does work offline, just like you saw. The system will continue to operate just like that, even if the driver becomes disconnected from the system. That particular case, we were using a simulator, but it is off-the-shelf hardware, and of course, common carriers can have the same kind of access using whatever systems they have. Those inspection sheets you saw, the pickups you saw, orders sent down to the handheld, we came from sales order, but really anything that flows through sales order would show up there, whether that was dispatch recurring or SODM. It captures that bill of lading data at the point of when they get that particular piece of information and accelerate that process. Handles that sales order data capture, including those signatures. Like I said, we'll put a sample of that up with the PowerPoint so that you'll be able to see that. But it shows the products that were delivered. It's basically a replication of the ticket that you would have given the customer, so they have all that information. And then provides that data capture for reporting on the truck. That data flows all back into the home office ERP. So we think that in this initial phase that it's meeting those targets that we had for it, which is to be a medium solution for the marketplace and something that was accessible, working in conjunction with multiple systems. As any of you that are using some of the more advanced truck systems will know that that workflow is very similar to what the other systems use. So the training curve is pretty light and things kind of flow the same way, and they're not mutually exclusive. They will work in conjunction with each other, so it allows you to maybe have them only on your truck and trailer but using a different system for fleet or whatever you're comfortable with. We wanted to give you flexibility and leverage your investments that you already have in hardware. So we made this point a couple times, but I wanted to talk a little bit more about the technology. Supported devices, the interface changes based on the device you're using. So if you're using, in this case, we were using something emulating an iPad, but it would work on an iPad, or it would work on Android tablets or Windows tablets or Surfaces or whatever kind of technology you were interested in deploying in your trucks, as long as it can connect to the internet and has a modern web browser. When we say modern, that just means supports web standards like HTML5. It will work. Smartphones such as iPhone or Android phones. So even if they're using just a phone type device, if they probably already have something like that with them now, they can use the system with no additional anything. You don't have to load any apps or any of that. If it's a desktop computer, it will work. So if you have a web browser, you can use this. You don't even have to have any hardware. You could throw laptops in the trucks. It doesn't matter. So any device with a web browser, and the entire thing is built on web standards and the HTML5. So it's not a proprietary technology. These things are built on modern web technologies that really are common use out in the industry. On an iPhone, for instance, this is what it would look like. So what we've been showing you is, I'm sorry, this is an Android phone. What we've been showing you is an iPad, but this is an Android device, and it's just showing you that the screens scale and move around. It seems kind of odd sometimes when you're looking at an iPad or something and you think, wow, that seems like extra real estate or whatever, but when you see it on a device like this, then you begin to understand why the buttons are the way they are, or things are the way they are, because this is something you're using with your hands. It's a touch interface. We're using a mouse, which is called a precision device, and of course, you know, touch targets can be really small, but when you're out and you're wearing gloves or you're doing something and you need to be able to touch it, you need those big buttons. So this is what, it was designed with the drivers in mind. So it is a responsive interface. Like I said, if you rotated those devices, they would, the interface would rotate and expand appropriately. So currently, we're moving into field testing with the product. We've finished the majority of our development. There's a few little rough ends you saw, but we're working through those. We are getting it out, getting it in the hands of drivers, and getting some feedback on that. That feedback, and the thing we're most focused on right now, is the user interface. We want to make sure that the user interface itself meets what the drivers expect and really follows their workflow. We're going to be adding some flexibility to it so that it is a little more configurable based on the needs of the individual. And the idea is to provide it in a way that kind of walks them through the operation. So by using the device and the interface, you know what you're supposed to do, and the system will take you right through it, as well as allow you to jump around if you need to, if you're a more advanced user. So we're going to be getting a lot of feedback on that as we go through our field testing and refining the user interface. If you're interested in this product and learning more about it, I would really appreciate if you'd reach out to us. We're very excited about this. We think it's going to be popular, and we think that it solves a problem and fills a gap that exists out there. You can reach out to your salespeople or your consultants, and they can arrange for us to do some extended demos with you or answer your questions. So we'd really encourage you to reach out to us and let us know. And that wraps up the presentation for DeliveryLink, giving you the overview of the product and what it is. I'm going to turn this back over to Tom so that he can take us through the end of this. And thank you very much for your attention.
Okay, great. Chris and John, thank you very much. For those of you who are familiar with our webinar format, this is the time where we normally plug our next webinar. And we do have a webinar scheduled in September. If you could advance the slide, John. Thank you. What we're planning for September 17th is we'd like to invite you all to join our CRM consulting team, Colin Chambers and Trish Martin, to learn about the new features that DM2 and Sage have added to the 7.3 release of Sage CRM. A couple of the features you'll learn about is it's got a very nice new and improved user interface. It's a lot cleaner and a little bit more intuitive, I believe, than the older versions. Then you'll also find out about some iPhone and Android apps available for the 7.3 version. And then one of the things that a lot of people are excited about is it does have a MailChimp email marketing integration. And I was recently at a seminar that demonstrated that. It's super easy to hook up, and it does give you a lot of good analytics on the email marketing that you're doing. And of course, it can pull information out and lists out of your CRM system. And then there's a number of DM2 petroleum marketing specific enhancements that you'll learn about. You'll find out what we've done about getting pricing into the quoting and estimation systems and CRM, and also some of the advanced business intelligence and marketing analytics that we've added to the product. What we'll do is we'll run through that, and then we'll kind of summarize everything with a sort of a day in the life of your sales team walkthrough of CRM. And I'd like to make mention that anybody that's on 4.5 or later has all the basic components they need to get started with Sage CRM. 4.5 and later systems include the Sage CRM server engine that you need to get going, and it does give you one named user license. So basically everybody on a current system has got the capability to start using CRM pretty quickly. So we encourage you to join us on the 17th at 11:30 Pacific, 2:30 Eastern. And on that note, we can open it up for questions. I see we've got a few questions that have come in. All right, so let's see, first question here. We've got a question that what proof of delivery does the customer receive on site? Beth at Nelson Petroleum is interested in finding about that.
Currently, the system, go ahead, John.
The system will send them an email. If the email is set up for the customer delivery location, they will receive an email just as dispatch did, showing the delivery of the items, the signature of who received it, the driver information, all that.
There's not a printed document because the way the system's designed, we designed it to not require specific hardware in the truck to be able to do those kinds of things. So they would get an email, and as quickly as you saw it here, before they've finished doing what they were doing, getting the truck ready to go, they'd have it with a copy of the signature and all the delivery information.
Okay, great. Next question that's come in is, if it's being used by common carriers like you had described earlier, Chris, is there a way to send them the release number, the number that they need to pull product from the rack? I think it's referred to as a PIN number in some cases.
You could include comments that are put on the orders are passed through. So
those SI memos.
Yeah, if you include it in shipping instructions, SIs, or if you made a /C comment on a line, that information would flow and the common carriers would see it.
Okay,
and the other place
great.
that we are starting to store it is also, it could be at the line level. Those comments will be carrying over as well.
Right.
Okay, great. Next question is this compatible with PeopleNet?
Do you mean to go ahead, Roxanne?
Yeah, I mean, if they have PeopleNet, it's not going to interfere. They can both coexist. Are we connected to PeopleNet in any way with this, with DeliveryLink? No. But as Chris was saying earlier, you could have other truck systems. PeopleNet is monitoring the truck activity, things such as that. So that would continue functioning as it does. But as far as the inspection, that data from PeopleNet would not be flowing into the inspection sheet that we have on DeliveryLink. Not at this time. We will be exploring Bluetooth connectivity later, but we wanted to get the initial product out, and then in the next phases, based on feedback from our customers, look at how we enhance the product as we go forward.
Okay, thank you, Roxana. Next question is, will this integrate with DM2 paperless Office?
Yes, you can flow the documents up through paperless. We're working on multiple options for that as we go into field testing, because there's many different ways to get the documents to paperless. So we're going to have something in the final offering to be able to handle that. Yeah.
Okay, thanks, Chris. Next question is from Doug over at Relodyne. Wants to know, is the driver inspection form approved by the U.S. DOT? You're
configuring. We based it on some sample documents we got. but we can work with you to configure it to whatever is required for that. We can specifically set those documents up to match a form that's required for your particular information, but at this point, we're just mirroring some information we already had. Roxana, do you have any comment on that?
No, I mean, that is the beauty of the way this is all designed, is that it'd be very easy for us to go in and we plan on doing that. So Doug, when we're working with Velodyne, if you guys have some specific layouts, forms, requirements that we need to use for that inspection, we'll be able to do that. We've also talked about driver logs and things like that. And again, with the architecture the way it is, very easy for us to drop that in and configure it based on what your needs are.
Yeah, all the data is there. Visual changes are easy to make. I just need to know what to do.
Yep. We wanted it to be a framework so that we could make those kinds of alterations. Yeah, that's how it's built.
Okay, that's a good lead into the next question. This from Jose over at SKS is asking about, will this include driver logs? I know you just touched on that, Roxana.
It's a feature we're looking at expanding into and adding to it. At this point, we're going into field testing, kind of what you've seen on the screens. But like I said, it's a web-based system, so one of the nice things is as we add those kind of capabilities, it will flow out to existing customers, so you won't have to do any real updates or anything like that to get that functionality.
Okay, we've got another question that's coming from Abraham over at Argenbendigu. He's asking about compatibility. His specific question is it compatible with version 4.40?
Currently, it's written for our object architecture systems, so 4.5 and 2013. We are evaluating working it back to previous versions based on demand. So we're looking at what specifically people are on and what they need, and that's something we're going to be doing during the field testing. So while we're testing the interfaces and things that are actually working in DeliveryLink on some of the later versions, we'll be evaluating the communication side for the older version.
Okay, great. It looks like that's all the questions that we have for now. So I just want to remind everybody that today's webinar has been recorded. Once the recording is available, I'll post it along with a copy of the presentation on our web page and a link to our YouTube page there, and then I'll send out a message to let everybody know that it's available to be downloaded or viewed. I'll also include a link to register for the What's New in Sage CRM webinar that I mentioned earlier. And on that note, I'd like to thank Chris, John, and Roxana for putting together this presentation and walking everybody through our new DeliveryLink system. We're very excited about it. And I'd like to thank everybody for attending today's webinar. If you have any additional questions or would like to help us with the field testing that Chris asked about, feel free to contact us at sales@dm2.com. And that concludes today's webinar. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.